In this video, I'm going to show you everything you have to know about the boss rush character Kokushibo, or in the game Moon. So all the boss rush characters recently got buffed, which was really good because they've been really useless for a long time now. And I've already made a video on Gilgamesh, but I'm going to make videos on all of them just now. So this video is going to be about Kokushibo. So I also know a lot about the characters because I test them very much. So I have a spreadsheet which you can access, and here I test so many things, just how they perform for both beginners, mid-game players, and late-game players, and how good the character is in general. I test so many things. And I'm also the number 2 player on the damage leaderboard, so that's why I should have a pretty accurate showcase here. So subscribe if you want more video showcases on characters, so I can continue making these videos, and maybe also so you can get access to future giveaways. Let's get into it. The first ability doesn't have anything special to it. It initiates fast, normal damage, normal pet energy gain, and 6-second cooldown. And the second ability is also really fast to use, 11 times damage, which is pretty good, 1 or 10 energy, which is average for a second ability, and 10-second cooldown, which is not the best, but it's okay. Third ability is also okay quick, and it's a really good dash. The damage isn't too insane, it's pretty mid, the energy gain isn't too good either, and the cooldown is actually pretty good for a third ability though. And the fourth ability, you can move around with it, it has pretty good AoE, and has good damage, good energy gain, and the cooldown is normal. The assist is not the best, it has mid damage, 75-second cooldown, no effects, it's not really a good assist. In the burst test, Kokushibo doesn't really have a spam ability, so he just relies on his cooldowns and he can't activate the pets, so he literally just use as many moves as possible, and this way I got 27.36 million damage. In the boss rush test, Kokushibo, just as I said before, doesn't have a spam ability, so he just has to wait for his abilities, and his moves aren't that strong either. So what makes him okay is that he has pretty fast moves, so he combos very well with Garo Pet, so when that activates, he can use a lot of moves quickly. So he kills the first and second boss pretty quickly, the third boss a bit slower, but it's okay. He gets 46 seconds in boss rush, which is better than Gilgamesh at least. In the speedrun test, Kokushibo performed very well, which was expected. Kokushibo was previously the best dimension character in the game before Shadow Monarch came out, and now a few other characters have come out, but he has a really good dash. The third ability is a very good dash, and it doesn't have a long cooldown either, so you can just speed through the dimensions, and his moves are really good for dimension. Pretty good AoE, they don't lock you in place, and the fourth ability, you can move around with it. It has okay damage, is a really good dimension character you can just speed through with Kokushibo. In the regular dimension test, you don't one-shot everything, so then he falls off a bit because there are characters with just better damage than Kokushibo. But he is still a really good dimension character, just in general, if you don't speedrun anyway, because he has a dash, his moves are really good, they are okay strong, they're not the strongest. Kurumi does beat him, that's the only one that has beaten him so far, but there are plenty that does beat him. But Kurumi is slightly better than Kokushibo when just using a regular dimension, so if you have Kurumi, probably use Kurumi, but Kokushibo is not bad at all, he has a really good dash. When using Kokushibo in a dimension run where I used only one card, so to simulate how newer players play because they don't have enough damage to just kill the enemies that fast, Kokushibo falls off a bit, because then in that test, basically movement doesn't matter as much, and damage matters. Like Guts is really good in that test, because he has good damage, and Kokushibo does not have the best damage, but he still does have a dash, which is really good no matter what, for survivability, for movement, everything, and his moves are good for dimensions. He is built like a dimension character, not that much damage, but fast moves, low cooldowns, and a dash move. That's just a dimension character, he's built for dimensions, so even then he's pretty good, but he is beaten by like Mihawk, the raid character. Using Kokushibo with bad gears, basically common cards, bad accessory, bad fruit, bad pets, bad everything except that you actually have the character, he performed very well. Now all the boss rush characters perform very well in this bad gear test. I'm not sure why really, but probably because either good cooldowns or good damage, because usually spam is really good in this test, because if you can spam a lot of moves, then you deal a lot of damage. And these characters do not have spam moves, but Kokushibo has a very fast moves, even though he doesn't have very strong moves. Very fast moves with good cooldowns, so he can use a lot of M1s, use a lot of moves, and he still deal a lot of damage. Among the better characters without any good gear, and better than better than all the current limited raid characters you can get right now. So for most of you guys, Kokushibo is going to be better than current raid characters. Using a bit better gear, Kokushibo and all the boss rush characters actually falls off. They don't have this spam ability, and you can't spam a lot with it, so you don't get the damage, and you don't get as good a combo with Garo as like the spam characters can, so like Mob, Mash, and Mihawk. And all of the current raid characters, or current limited raid characters, are actually better than the boss rush characters in this test, so if you're a bit better and can deal a lot of billions of damage in raids, then Kokushibo is not gonna be a very good character, nor is any boss rush character going to be. And in the best gear test using meta stuff, this still just holds. Kokushibo and all the boss rush characters cannot just keep up with the characters that really benefit with using Garopet and Celestial and just spamming, because they don't have spam moves, they don't have any effects that help them. They just have their moves, and their moves deal mid damage, so they don't do that well if you have the best gear. But they're still okay, and Kokushibo is actually the second best raid or boss rush character for raids anyway. So he is pretty good. Among the boss rush characters, he's the second best character in raids, which is pretty good, but in general, he is worse than the raid characters, limited raid characters, if you have good gear. But better than them if you have bad gear, so like no Garopet and everything like that. So here is the overview of Kokushibo, everything you have to know. So all the abilities, just energy gain, damage, cooldown, and effects. Kokushibo does not have any effects. And how good the assist is, etc. And how well he performs in all the different tests. You can see here, and if you scroll to the right, the goal is going to be to have every single character in the game, but it's work in progress. It's gonna take a long time. So far, it's only everything I've tested so far. But Kokushibo, not the very best in raids, but he is pretty good without any good gear, so he could perform there. And he is among the better boss rush characters for raids, and he is the best boss rush character in Dimensions. He actually is really good in Dimensions. In fact, he was the meta for Dimensions way back when newer characters didn't exist. So he is a really good Dimension character, but not really good in anything else. Though among the boss rush characters, he probably is the most viable character. Among the boss rush characters, Kokushibo is definitely a good option. There are 4 boss rush characters. Gilgamesh was the worst in general. Kokushibo is probably going to be your go-to, probably gonna be your best. If you have bad gear, if you have very bad gear, Kokushibo does not perform much worse than the better boss rush characters in raids. And even if you have good gear, the better gear you have, the more of a competitor Kokushibo is, because the third ability is really quick. So Kokushibo is actually really good in raids. Well, relative to the boss rush characters, and in Dimensions he's the best. While he doesn't have a very big use outside from that, he's probably your most viable and versatile boss rush character. So if you get a boss rush character, you can probably hope it's Kokushibo. It's probably, in general, the best boss rush character if you only get one of them. Though there are better characters in specifically raid, and there are better characters in specifically as an assist. But in general, Kokushibo is the most versatile and probably the best boss rush character you can get out of the 4 boss rush characters that exist. Broly, Kokushibo, Gilgamesh, and Alice. Anyway, that's it for Kokushibo. Subscribe if you want more video showcases. Actually, I'm going to make a Broly showcase and then an Alice showcase, and also try to showcase the newly buffed Kurumi in the future videos. But then I'm also gonna make a few other videos that involve showcases and everything like that, so make sure to subscribe so I can continue making these. But yeah, Kokushibo, definitely, if you get 3000 boss rush tokens, you can probably buy Kokushibo. He's a very safe bet, good for everything basically. He's so versatile, probably the best boss rush character you can get. So yeah, try to get him. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.